Coming into the second half, Blue Lock in Nigeria's philosophy will determine who wins this match, and what exactly has either country discovered in order to win. Blue Lock Chapter 318 has just released. Let's talk about it. So the chapter starts with the narrator saying, "So strong, Blue Lock Japan, overwhelming Nigeria on both offense and defense. It's the end of the first half with a 2-0 lead." We then cut to the Blue Lock locker room as we see Raichi, Nanase, and Corona, as well as Aiku, Gagamaru, Fukaku, Nico, and Audio there in the locker room. With Raichi saying, "Hell yeah," as Nanase says, "What a great save." With Corona saying, "Looking good so far." As Audio and Nico say, "It looks good, but we're pushing forward a bit too much. In the second half, let's keep the defensive line a little more careful." As we see in the next page, Karasu, Chigiri, and Hiyori are there, while Karasu says, "I mean, we could have scored another one already. Princess and Ice Lord, aren't you focusing a bit too much on crosses? Go for the goal, you two." As Chigiri says, "Shut it, bird. Just watch the second half." As Hiyori says, "For real, it's called Blue Lock, you know?" Each of them having witty banter towards each other. As Henri at the bottom is saying that Blue Lock is evolving at speeds that she didn't even realize were possible. We then cut to the next page with Isagi saying, "If we just win like this, it won't mean anything. Do what we can, but just winning won't help us grow. Let's try something new in the second half." As Karasu and Bachata say, "Huh? Yeah, sure, but what are we gonna do?" As Karasu, Aiku, Isagi, and Nico start to converse with one another, with Aiku saying, "I definitely think securing a win also gets experience in closing out a match. There's some risk though. Trying it seems interesting, that's true." As Isagi chimes in saying, "Then let's do both. Try something new while still playing to secure all 3 points." With Aiku saying, "You really say it, huh, egoist?" As Nico says, "Easier said than done." As Isagi chimes in again saying, "But if we're going to experiment with the attack, we also have to adjust our defense accordingly." "Yeah, so we adjust that too. I propose it to Ego." With Karasu saying, "You can't just do that." As Rin, sitting down, chimes in and says, "Just winning doesn't feel good enough. Besides, I haven't even scored yet. You think I'm just gonna play nice and end it like this? I'll break it apart in a whole new way." As Aiku says, yeah, selfish as always." So we might see something from Rin in these next few chapters against Nigeria. Finally. Nigeria ain't ready for this guy, I'll tell you that much. Then cut to Ego entering the locker room, dropping yet some more golden information. He states, "That's fine. Here, maintaining balance doesn't just mean defending. That's our philosophy. Everyone must keep aiming for the goal and use every single minute and second for their own evolution. That is Blue Lock. Now, I'll announce the strategy for the second half," as everyone is eagerly awaiting to hear what Ego has to say. We then cut to the Nigerian locker room, and they are not in good spirits. As Obabana says, "We can't win. We're going to lose if things keep going like this," as Bello chimes in saying, "So what should we do in the second half? Give me your opinion." As the coach of the Nigerian team known as Genbari says, "Unbelievable. This Blue Lock, he creates the starting points for both attack and defense, and can go for goals too. This is tough." And you know you cooked if the coach even says that, damn. As we then cut to Onazi contemplating a lot of things. As Genbari says, "What we've been doing, the same thing doesn't work." As Onazi says, "This is the first time I face something like this. This is insane. So this is the world." As we see in the next page, Onazi, like usual, is smiling, saying Blue Lock is so cool, which then lights a fire underneath him, with him saying, "Hey, coach, everyone, those guys, they're strong. What do you think makes Japan strong?" As Bello asks, they have a lot of attacking pattern. As Obabana says, each and every one of them is aiming for the goal. Onazi saying, "Exactly. Everyone, every single one of them is living for their own goal." As we cut back to the Blue Lock side of the locker room with Ego saying, "Why do people want to win? Have you ever thought about that?" As Bachata says, "Huh? Well, isn't it just because it feels good?" As Ego continues by saying, "Then why do you feel as if it feels good?" As we cut to Isagi in the next page asking, "Is it proof that you're immediately superior to others?" As Ego says, "It's because that instinct is engraved in your genes. An individual by nature can't survive unless it's superior to others. When it's hungry, it becomes stronger, and the chances of leaving offspring increase. So strong, the genes want it. It's the survival instinct, raw and exposed." As Ego continues saying, "The Blue Lock exists to create the strongest individual in the world." As Onazi says, "I want to win against Blue Lock. Let's try fighting like they do in Blue Lock." As his teammates say, "You mean we should aim for our own goals? But we are weaker than them." As Onazi stands up with fire in his eyes saying, "It doesn't matter. Let's do it. Let's give it a try. Hey, isn't that fine, coach? Even if I gather the ball to myself. we're just going to lose like this anyway. As his coach says, if you say so, as Onazi says, shall we take on the challenge to win? Asking the players if that's something they want to do. Then cut back to Ego in his philosophy saying, however, if everyone lived solely by the instincts of wanting to win or proving their own superiority, conflict, discrimination, and war would constantly arise. That's why humans, in order not to become like that, have developed social systems like norms and laws and have evolved to treat life as equally as possible. As we get a description and an image to show just that. But Ego continues by saying, even if you don't wish to win, you can still survive in a lukewarm world. People call that peace. But so that you don't disappear in this lukewarm world, the true desire that exists inside you, that's why I keep appealing to the instinct of want to win. Again, playing off of how things have been going in Blue Lock, also relating to how Nagi was able to be locked off in the first place. In a beautiful double page, Ego continues by saying, now you raw gems who wish for victory and want to win, I will grant you a new equation. Consider it your experimental apparatus. The Blue Lock drags everyone involved out of peace and exposes their instincts and desires. As Onazi says to the Nigerian team, here we go, Nigeria. As the ball is on the pitch and Isagi Yoichi approaches it. And in the final page of Blue Lock chapter 318, the second half has commenced. As Ego asks, can football really captivate people this much? Have you ever known that before? Or the narrator, one of the two. I don't know who said it. The next chapter, Blue Lock chapter 319, is titled The Equation of Passion. So the equation that Blue Lock is learning, or that Ego has instilled inside of them for them to learn out, is the equation of passion. Things are going to be very different from here on out. The second half is not going to be anything like the first half. Nigeria, with the idea of wanting to copy Blue Lock, going for their own goals, and Blue Lock with a newly ingrained equation trying to figure that out while trying to beat Nigeria. How this will play out, I don't know, but I can tell you this much. This chapter was a goldmine of information that will be carried over into future games. With that, let me know what you all thought about this chapter down below.